So, I went to a League Cup this last weekend, and I really wanted to play the new variant of Gholdengo, and honestly, it did pretty well for me. I went 3-2, and the 2 losses I had were due to my own misplays. We will talk about that when we get there, but we're going to show off the new Gholdengo deck profile and show off some gameplay at the end, so if you want to skip ahead to that, feel free. I will have it timestamped, probably. In the meantime, let's get into the deck profile. So, it's still Gholdengo, so we're still playing 4 copies. This is still one of my favorite cards in the game. This is still one of my favorite Pokemon that exist. If you're unfamiliar with why people love this card, coin bonus. Once during your turn, you can draw a card. If it's in the active spot, you can draw one more card. A lot of draw power in this deck. Very, very strong. Make It Rain for 1 metal lets you do 50 damage for each basic energy card you discard from your hand. Now, I'm kind of blocking it with my thumb, but it does have a retreat cost of 2. All of those things are somewhat relevant, and we will talk about them as we get there. If you're playing 4 Gholdengo, you have to play 4 Gimmighoul. You can play the continuous coin toss one. Specifically, I haven't liked it in the past, and I've been pretty adamant that this is my favorite Gimmighoul to run. The 70 HP means that you are safer from Dragapult unless they can find themselves a Halucho, which is nice. You can play the continuous coin toss one. I feel like in this new variant of the deck, you really don't need it though, so this guy has been really, really good. Still retreat cost of 2, minor errand running. 1 colorless, you can search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. That is relevant. So, this is what makes the deck new again. So we're playing 2 copies of Lunatone, as well as 2 copies of Solrock. These are arguably the strongest cards to have come out of Mega Evolution. Shouts out to all the Mega Evolution Pokemon. I don't think they're that good. Lunatone. So these guys have to be on the field at the same time. Very important. With its Lunar Cycle ability, once during your turn if you have Solrock in play, you may discard a basic fighting energy card from your hand to use this ability, draw 3 cards. Solrock. For 1 fighting, if you don't have Lunatone on your bench, this attack does nothing, but it is unaffected by weakness and resistance for 70 damage. Very relevant in your Gardevoir matchup. Very relevant in a lot of matchups, in fact, and we will talk more about how important this guy is later when we get to some other cards, but being able to have a single prize attacker that can smack for 70 damage early on in the game, very, very important. Lunatone also gives you an early game draw engine, which is also very, very crucial for the deck. Moving on to the one-ups Pokemon, we are playing 1 copy of Genesect EX. I absolutely love this SIR. Probably will never sell it, realistically. But this thing says, with its Metallic Signal ability, once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 Evolution Metal Pokemon, reveal and put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this says once per turn, search for 2 Gholdengo. Very, very strong. Its attack, protect, charge for 2 metal and a colorless. Basically never comes up. Its retreat cost being 2 does come up a whole lot. A lot of times people try and counter catcher or boss disorders this thing into the active position. You can use an Air Balloon to just pull it right back. You have to play a Fez. I feel like every deck in the metagame has to play a Fezandipiti, with potential exceptions of like Grimmsnarl doesn't really have a whole lot of bench space for it, and like single prize decks you can make an argument, so like maybe the Alakazam deck that's been running around doesn't want to play a Fez. For Alligator, as we've talked about in the past, really doesn't want to play a Fez, but once during your turn, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. Very, very good, especially in a deck like this where drawing cards is crucial. Play 1 copy of Iron Bundle. This is not the Pokemon Center version because I am poor. But this is a card that I have played it in Gholdengo in the past, but have recently cut it out. I feel like it is now kind of crucial again. With Hyper Blow ability, if it is on the bench, you may switch your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. They get to choose who it is, but you get like a pseudo gusting option, which is really, really strong. If you do, you discard this card and all attached cards. Important that it's discard, not knock itself out, like a Dusknoir or something, because you can still use Iron Bundle if your opponent has a Psyduck on board. Now, the one sneaky tech card that I've been running in this deck, I guess there are a couple sneaky techs. I've been running the Cornerstone Mask. Really, really good in the mirror. Really good against Alakazam. You can basically, that new Alakazam single prizer deck, you can just promote this into active and just sit there. The only thing they can really do to stop you is evolve into a Dunsparce EX if they play the EX. But at that point, you would probably have at least a fighting energy attached to this guy, if not more energy attached. And at that point, it just becomes a battle of smacking them and knocking them out before they do the same to you. So, those are our Pokemon. Pretty decent sweep. I have had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, I'm still not fully convinced that this is the best variant to be playing, but that's the variant that we are currently playing. On to the supporters, we are playing 4 copies of Arven. I'm trying my best to get more SIR Arvens. I really like this one where he's building the sandwich. But this guy lets you search your deck for an item and a tool card, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. We've been playing 4 Arven and Gholdengo for a very, very long time, and it is a little bit more relevant now. Moving on to the next supporter, we play 4 Boss. I'm trying really hard as well to get a 4th full art, but I'm not about to shell out the money for the Rebel Clash Giovanni, so here we are. This thing is super, super good. I would really love to fit a counter catcher in this deck. Most Gholdengos will play 1 copy of counter catchers, so you have 5 gusting options, one of which is searchable by Arven. And spoilers for next week-ish, I have a league challenge coming up. So I just competed in a cup. I have a challenge coming up on this coming Tuesday. So what, 6 days from now? And we're definitely going to try and sneak a counter catcher into there, as well as a couple other really interesting techs that I think are super, super fun. Little risky, little risky for the biscuit action, but I think it's worth it. We're only playing 1 copy of Turo. On the morning of the League Cup, I was playing 2, but I actually chopped the second one out for a card that we will get into later that, honestly, during the Cup itself, I found myself wanting the second Turo sometimes, but every time I saw the card that I swapped out for the Turo, it ended up being very, very vital to the strategy. So 1 Turo has been fine. Would love to play 2, but deck space is tight. We're still playing 1 copy of Iono. This is a card that I have long said is not that great in Gholdengo, so I actually might end up cutting it in the future, but for now, the 1 Iono has been good. It's really good, again, against that Alakazam deck. I keep mentioning that Alakazam as if it's actually a meta contender. It's a decent deck. It's not a crazy deck, but the Iono is also good in the mirror match and just good in matchups where your opponent runs away with an early game, so it tends to help out. Moving on to the items, you will notice that this is not Energy Search Pro. I do still have Energy Search Pro. I have the entire variant over here to the side. It's just not what we're playing right now, because I really wanted to try out this new rock variant, which has been really, really fun. So we play Precious Trolley as the ace spec instead of the E-Search Pro. Precious Trolley searches your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and puts them onto your bench, then shuffles your deck. So a lot of times what you're going to be doing is you will have your 1 Pokemon in the active. Ideally, it's a Solrock. But if it's anything other than a Solrock, you can use Arven to search Trolley and an Air Balloon, so you can pivot back out and get your Solrock in play. But Precious Trolley can get you Gimmighouls to the board, it can get you Iron Bundle to the board on your first turn going second, which is very, very important. But this also sets up your Lunatone and your Solrock in play to get you starting to draw your cards and to get you your early game attacker on board. Very, very strong. Definitely like Trolley in this deck. Again, I'm still not sold that this is better than the E-Search Pro variant, but we've been having fun with it. Playing 2 copies of Nest Ball. In my deck that I'm going to be playing next week, I've actually cut one of these for an Ultra Ball. Spoilers, we do not play Ultra Ball. But Nest Ball, search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. I do like having 2 because you can snag yourself out either a Genesect or a lot of times a Fezandipiti after your opponent's taken a knock. Next item, we're playing 2 copies of Pokégear 3.0. This is a very, very good card in a deck like this where we don't play a lot of different supporters, but the supporters that we do play a heavy suite of. So Pokégear, very, very good, especially on your first turn going second, so you can try and get to your Arven as soon as possible. Pokégear, very, very strong, very, very good. It's Gholdengo, so you have to play 4 superior. I don't think there's any real arguing on this one. If you wanted to play a copy of regular energy retrieval, I could see you finding the space in it somewhere for it, just because a lot of times you'll end up needing 6 energy to knock out an opponent, so having to discard 2 to only bring back 2 from the discard pile can feel a little bad, so you could definitely see a regular energy retrieval being tucked back into this deck somewhere. Playing 3 Earthen Vessel. Since we are not playing the E-Search Pro anymore, we really, really need to get our energy cards to our hand as soon as possible. I've considered Letter of Encouragement, but I don't think it's good enough. If you're unfamiliar with that card, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you could search your deck for some energy. Very good, very strong. I am curious for when Phantasmal comes out as well. We will try and build a fire variant of Gholdengo because I feel like that's going to be really, really strong in Mirror. So maybe we'll try and build like a fire variant that uses Centiskorch, for instance, because Centiskorch can knock out a Gholdengo. But 3 Earthen Vessel. I don't think you need a 4th one, and in fact, in a lot of my testing, by the time you hit your 3rd Earthen Vessel, it's already dead. Like, you've already got most of the energy to your hand. Because we also play 3 copies of Fighting Gong, which this is one of the new cards from Mega Evolution. You search your deck for a basic energy card, a basic fighting energy, excuse me, or a basic fighting Pokemon, reveal it, put it in your hand. So this can search out your basic fighting energies. A lot of times what will happen is you will have this in your opening hand. You use this to either search out your Solrock, Lunatone, or fighting energy so you can start getting your draw power going. Very, very strong card. Very good in Ceruledge, very good in Gholdengo. I think we'll skip a card and save that for a minute. We're playing 1 copy of Super Rod. We're not playing Night Stretches in this deck. Being able to play Super Rod, though, is very, very important. As I mentioned, a lot of times when you hit your 3rd vessel, it's already dead because you've already searched out all your energy, but being able to Super Rod some of that back so that you can Earthen Vessel it back into your hand, it's a kind of a roundabout way to play a superior energy. Not really that great, but this is really, really important in matchups where your opponent summons Toedscruel on you, because Toedscruel prevents you from putting the energy back in your hand. Super Rod puts it back in your deck, and then you can just research it straight from deck, which is really, really nice, really strong. Good way to get around that Toedscruel, because Toedscruel has 140 HP. If you Super Rod 3 energy back, and you are able to Vessel and Gong to get that energy straight back to your hand, you're smooth sailing. You can knock it out with a Boss Orders. 1 copy of Picnic Basket. This is a card that I have also not really thought was particularly great, but in Gholdengo it does make a whole lot of sense. Specifically for like the Dragapult and the Grimmsnarl matchups, I feel like are really, really important. This can also come up in the Gardevoir matchup, but in my experience, you want to play this against Grimmsnarl primarily and Dragapult when it comes up. Heals 30 damage from each Pokemon on the entire board. Now, it does include your opponent, but since we are a one-shot deck, we don't really care if we're healing up the opponent because we're just going to one-tap them anyway. However, this is very, very good in the Grimmsnarl matchup, as I have mentioned, because your Grimmsnarl matchup, it's not awful. I wouldn't say it's skewed in anyone's favor, really. It's kind of a mark of who plays better. But if you have weak Gholdengos on your board and they TM Devo you and are able to knock out like 2-3 Gholdengos, you're in a really, really hard way. So being able to have this Picnic Basket is rather nice to try and keep all your Gholdengos at least above 70 HP. Next card, Tool Scrapper. I really, really like this card still in Gholdengo. Not really many people are playing the Genesect with Ace Nullifier anymore, and it's really not as big of a hindrance in this deck as it was when we were playing eSearch Pro, so that is kind of nice. But Tool Scrapper is really, really nice in the Guardy matchup, specifically if they want to Bravery Charm onto a Screamtail or a Drifloon and start loading that up with a bunch of damage. You can use your Tool Scrapper to get rid of their Bravery Charm and knock them out, being able to take a multi-praise turn against Gardevoir, which is very, very strong. Also comes up in some other niche matchups, like it's really good in the Absol Box matchup, now that that's been rolling around a lot more recently. And our final item card of the deck, I've been playing 1 Premium Power Pro. This may seem like a stupid inclusion because the only fighting Pokemon we have is the Solrock and the Lunatone, but let me tell you, this thing is absolutely crazy, and a lot of it is because of one of the tools that we play, which I guess now is a good time to also get into our tools. First tool we play is a Vitality Band. The attacks of this Pokemon this card is attached to do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Doesn't sound like a lot. Your Solrock does 70. There are a lot of Pokemon running around with 80 HP, so being able to slap a Vitality Band on it puts you at 80. And the Premium Power Pro. During this turn, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active. So, a lot of times, and this comes up in like a handful of different matches actually. This can come up in the Guardy matchup, this can come up in the Grimm matchup, this can come up in the Absol Box matchup, this comes up even in the Charizard matchup, which a lot of people have recently said that Charizard is heavily favored in that matchup. I do think the rocks kind of save it, because your Cosmic Beam can knock out a Charmander, but once they load up their Chi-Yu onto the board, if you have Vitality Band on your Solrock and you Premium Power Pro, that puts you at 110. So that is enough to knock out the Chi-Yu, that is enough to knock out a Monkey Dory, It's enough to knock out a Charmeleon. I know Garchomp has been a lot more popular recently. The Premium Power Pro lets you get over the Gabite, which is really, really good. So, Premium Power Pro, absolutely massive. Stole a bit of a page out of Azul GG's book, and I've been loving it, honestly. Last of the tools, we play 2 Air Balloon. I still think this is really, really important. I don't think we need to play 3. I don't think there's space to play a 3rd one, but I do think playing 2 is like the very bare minimum that you should play. You never really want to prize your Air Balloon. As I mentioned at the top, a lot of people will try and counter catcher or boss's orders to stick your Genesect EX in the active position. Air Balloon's really nice to get it back and get you attacking. You can also use Turo in certain situations to pick up the Genesect, and then you can use it as discard fodder, whatever. The Air Balloon is also really nice, has great synergy with Gholdengo. So you have a Gholdengo in the active, you Air Balloon it, you use its effect, retreat cost is 2 less, so you can retreat your Gholdengo for free into a second Gholdengo, so instead of drawing 1 card from your bench, you get to draw 2 cards twice. Very, very strong. Air Balloon, amazing, one of the best cards in this deck. And for the stadium, we are playing 1 copy of Artazon. I know it's not expensive, but I finally got my hands on a gold copy, so very, very excited about that. If you don't know Artazon, once during either player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon without a rule box, slap it to their bench, shuffle the deck. Now, a lot of times what you can do with Artazon as well, say you have a bench of 4 Pokemon instead of 5, and your opponent Ionos you down to a small hand and like Iono'd good cards away from you, you can actually use Artazon, fail it, and get a free shuffle of your deck before you start using your Gholdengo and your Fez and your Lunatone to start drawing cards. So you can hopefully draw into some of the good cards that were forced to be put at the bottom of your deck, because you have now shuffled. Alright, on to the energy. We are playing 11 energy. I really wish we could play a 12th one, but that doesn't really come up a whole lot. So we're playing 3 metal. Very, very cool. Very excited for these 2 copies specifically. Just got those in a big trade recently, so really, really happy there. And we are, of course, playing 8 copies of Fighting Energy. Would love to get my hands on some more gold copies. Picked these up at the card shop, actually, on the morning of the event. Got there a little bit early so I could go shopping, but that is the deck. 3 metal, 8 energy, or 3 metal, 8 fighting energy. Very, very cool deck, very, very fun. Again, still not sold if this is the best way to be playing Gholdengo, but I have been having a whole lot of fun with it, so let's get into some games. And we're back. Okay, now, I know Arceus League isn't very difficult to get to. You basically just have to grind, but it is worth noting that this deck has helped me grind very, very quickly. So, if you want a deck that'll get you high in the ranks quickly, probably play Poison Donk, but if you want to have fun, this is a great deck to be doing it with. See an Iono coin. I don't know if that means anything, and in fact, it probably doesn't, but we will find out what they're playing. Oof. Heads shreds, unfortunately. Noko 5586. Opponent chooses to go first. Very, very cool. We get no mulligans. We don't open Arven, however, which is a little bit unfortunate. Just in case it's a donk deck, we're gonna drop the Fez down. Ooh, they start Fez. It's kind of unfortunate. Alright, so if they're going first, 9 times out of 10, I would say they're probably playing Ceruledge nowadays. I don't know a whole lot of other blind first decks in the format. I guess Raging Bolt still exists, so you can get Hoot Noctiles down. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot of decks that want to go first. I guess Terrorbox probably wants to go first for the same reason. Get your Hoots in play. They do have the Brilliant Stars sleeves, very cool. Get a Squawk. Okay, so it is almost certainly Ceruledge. This is a matchup a lot of people would argue is in Ceruledge's favor. I disagree. I'd say it's pretty close to even, though I also want to say it's like kind of 60-40 in the Gholdengo's favor. You see the Palpad getting the boss's orders back in, so if they have to discard their Briar, we're in really good shape. At the cup I went to, I actually played against Ceruledge 2 rounds in a row, so do with that what you will. Throw an energy on the Fez. Are you going to retreat or just leave it? Feels kind of weird to just leave it. Probably thinking about whether or not I can do enough damage to be important here. Looks like, in theory, the wise thing is to retreat into a single prizer, but do you really want to give up your Charcadet? They do discard another boss, potentially even the same boss. They also have a Night Stretcher gone, and they leave the energy on the Fez. Very, very risky, but it seems like it's actually probably going to pay off for them. I think we actually have to Iono here. Yeah. Not necessarily ideal, but get a few more cards that are better for us. We can Genesect, Metallic Signal some things from deck, which is good. I'm tempted to Fighting Gong here. It's not great because I don't really want to set up a Lunatone Solrock without having energies around. But being able to mine it and running is also cool. We'll just pass. I'm okay with the pass here. They could have a Ceruledge that they can drop down. They do retreat into probably Charcadet. They likely do have the Ceruledge. We'll see if they attach Legacy or if they have to go raw Fire Energy. They're going Vessel, so it's probably just Fire Energy. They do have 4, but it's 3 basic. That doesn't have to be basic though. Okay, so they have 4 in discard. So they can do what? 111? 111, 110? There's 150. I guess they could boss up something. You know, Turo, probably Squawk. Oh, you Turo the Fez. Interesting. Fair enough. The Abyssal Flame comes out. Genesect here. And we roll for an Arven. Go Trolley and Balloon. We'll throw down the Trolley. Bundle's probably pretty good here, actually. Probably promote Squawk, but it could be Charcadet. If it's Charcadet, we can take a knock. It is Squawk, that's fine. So we'll Fighting Gong out of Fighting Energy. And we'll do it again. Get our Fez, draw a bunch of cards. Get our Lunatone, draw a bunch of cards. Unfortunately, we're also giving them Artazon, but being able to get more gimmies onto board to be able to actually progress our board state is really important here. We'll Signal. Do have all 4 Gholdengos in the deck, which is nice. I think we'll try and keep our active as a single prizer. Do 70 here, which is not terrible. And they can just Turo it up, but the 70 does mean that Gholdengo gets to discard 2 less energy to take out the Squawk, so pretty good situation here, honestly. If you get the Artazon, as we mentioned, get the Lunatone, complete their Soul Lunatone, the LunaRock, I guess, as people have been calling it. Carmine come down. Discard all of the Fez. I do understand because you don't want the liability on board. You will have to attach and retreat the Squawk if you want to get your Ceruledge back in play, though. You might not have it either. Interesting. missed to the Lunatone. Yeah, there's a misclick there for sure. Well, a little bit unfortunate. I would have loved to have been able to play that match out, because I do think that that matchup is an important one to know, being a Gholdengo player. But we'll just rock straight into the next one, see how it goes. Yikes. I feel like ladder's usually a lot faster to find a match right about now, but I guess people are potentially driving home from school and work and whatnot, so maybe not as many people online, but that being said, boy oh boy, today is October 15th on the day that I'm recording this and on the day that you are seeing it, which means it's almost 5 o'clock at the time of recording. Tails, did you pick heads? You seem like a heads picker. Oh, you chose tails. Good for you. You were smart to pick tails. But, oh, we gotta go first. You really don't want to go first in this deck. I mean, you can just raw rip the trolley, I guess. Solrock Lunatone does help when trying to rip a trolley. So we will see where that goes. We can vessel away some of the energy. Kangaskhan, let's go. I really hope this is the Mega Box deck that Ford made that's been making its rounds. Only one metal in deck. That is really, really scary, actually. So we're gonna have to play around that a little bit and be a little bit more delicate with our stuff. Gong to get another fighting. We have 2 left in deck. Cornerstone probably won't come up during this matchup, and we can super rot it back if we really, really need to. But I'm pretty content to just grab a bunch of energy, pass it over. We do have an Arven next turn, so we can start getting trolleys set up, but I do hope this is the Mega Box deck, because everybody's been hyping this up a lot recently. See a Pokégear come down for Lilies. Could still be Mega Box. I don't think we're going to see a Forretress EX come out, so see where that takes us, but it's interesting that they ran errands before using Lily. Okay, so we're just going to Arven instead. It's fine. But because the Mega Kanga only has 300 HP, again, we do play the Tool Scrapper in this list. It does come up in matchups like this. We'll see if they can get the Lively Stadium in play as well, but if we can Tool Scrapper their Bravery Charm off of them, we're in pretty decent shape. Do see the Absol come down. Very, very cool. This deck has been running Xerosic on occasion, which is pretty not good for us, so we'll see where that takes us. I don't think, however... Okay, so we get the Bravery Charm on the Absol, and the Turbo Energize comes out. So they're going to power up their Absol. They'll still need one more attachment. And with us not having Gimmighouls in play right now, we are technically a little bit behind, but we shall see, because we trade really well into Megas. I was just talking about this the other day. I wish more Mega Pokemon would be good, right? Some of them are good. Some of them are really not that good. Interesting that their fighting energy comes down onto this, because a lot of times this deck would want to pull out Cornerstones against Gholdengo. So if your fighting energy has to be on the Mega Kanga, that's really, really good for us, actually. Wow, we just raw ripped the trolley. Okay. So what then do we want? I almost feel like we don't need the bundle here is the thing, because you can't really trap any of them. I think we'll just go to the third Gimme. Because now we can Metallic Virtue Signal, get some Dangos out of deck, use Lunatone, draw some cards. Artazon's cool. I don't want to give it to them though. And we still have Arven. Gosh, we prized a lot of energy, didn't we? So 3 there, 4, 5, 6, 7. And our 8th one is in deck, so we've prized 3 energies. Kinda not great here. Kinda down to Arven. We'll actually grab a second Pokégear. And I think I want the Vitality Band in case we have to go after Latias EX. So we'll just smack them with 70, I think. Yeah, we'll just hit 70. They could penny this up to be able to take the energy back as well. And they could take 1 card out of our hand with Claw of Darkness, but I'm not super duper scared about that. You see the E-switch come out, so they're gonna Claw of Darkness us. So I'm not really that upset here. Any 1 card they could take out of our hand doesn't really matter that much. The Vessel would be a little bit unfortunate. Could take a Dingo, could take a Balloon. I don't think any of those really matter here. We're not in counter-catcher range. You Lilied, so you can't boss. You only have 1 monkey, so you can't really spread all the damage you want to. Oh, this deck is so cool though, guys. This is a deck that I'm really looking forward to trying to make myself. We do see a Cornerstone come down. Honestly, that won't matter too much. Claw does take the takedown. I think they actually do have to select first. They probably take Air Balloon, realistically. They took a Dango. Yikes, that's actually kind of crazy. I would not have picked Gholdengo if I were in your position. And this is something that I think is really worth pointing out. You really need to make a lot of smart decisions when you're playing this new Mega Box deck. And not trying to imply by any stretch of the imagination that my opponent is not smart by any means. However, not taking the Air Balloon means that I get a lot more access to my draw cards, which is not really something that you want. I am going to Metallic Signal to pull out my last Gholdengo, so I don't draw into it. We don't even see a premium. We have 4 down. So we need 7 to take knock and weaken superior for 4 of them. I don't think I really want to use Lunatone draw right now either. And these boss are going to come up. They're definitely going to come up and come in handy. I think we'll get rid of Power Pro and Vessel. We don't need the Vessel because all of our energy is already in play. Yeah, they scoop. Oof. Big video for Scoopies. It's kind of wild. I wish they didn't scoop. That would have been really fun to play out. But unfortunately, unless they had an Iono to get our bosses out of our hand, it didn't really have a whole lot for us. So we will jump straight into the next match. We'll try and play. Depending on time, we might actually be able to get a 4th match in, but go tails, tails never fails. Unfortunately, heads does shred. Now, in relation to that deck that we just played against, I do have, see if you can see those, kind of not really. Kind of, sort of. Okay, we ripped the trolley off top, which is kind of crazy, so we'll just throw rock because we have to go first. Oof, and a Mully, unfort. We take 1 mulligan, so the PAF pad kind of makes me think it's Ceruledge, but it could very well be Lucario. A lot of people are still playing the Lucario deck, so it was one of the, well, it was a free deck that was given out to TCG Live players, so. This video not brought to you by Red Bull, but I don't know if you can see what that is. The Amber Edition. Wow. Delicious. Okay. The Dingo in hand is really nice, actually. Opponent chose to go first. Oh my gosh, dude. You're so turboed right now. It is Ceruledge. Okay. Let's see if they can get another piece down. If they don't have another... Okay, they have Ultra Ball. Like, we can just donk them super quick if not. That's one thing that I really do like about playing the Premium Power Pro. A lot of people are playing the Solrock Lunatone engine right now. So if they don't get enough pieces to actually be able to get it on board and get it going, the Vitality Band and Premium Power Pro knocks out a Lunatone and a Solrock, which is very, very relevant right now. Alright. Once again, I am super, super excited that this is actually a Ceruledge player. I hope they don't scoop. Wow, and we get the Lunatone. So I guess we could push up their Solrock. So I think we might. Okay, we have one Gimme in hand. We have the Lunatone on board. It'd be tricky to try and get to... Oh, okay, so Premium Power is actually prized, so we don't have to worry about trying to donk them. That's fine. Okay. With that in mind, I actually don't want Bundle here. Let's go with these 4. So I can get my own Lunatone down. This one Metallic Signal, see how many Gholdengos are in deck. We do have all of them, which is good. Gosh, I kind of want a Vessel. I think we'll actually Vessel away at Gimmighoul. Because you generally don't need 4 of them in this matchup. We have a Metal in hand, so we'll grab 2 Fighting. Lunatone, trash 1. Double Pokégear in hand. But I don't really care about having a supporter right now. Arven doesn't really do anything else for us other than getting us more energy. Cost 1 out, I guess. We do hit the Arven, which is cool. We will drop down the Arven. We'll grab a Gong and a Balloon, I think. And we'll grab a Vessel instead, actually. At this point, we can kind of Vessel away a Rock. I think we'll Vessel Cornerstone instead, because he doesn't really come up in this matchup very much. We'll tag 2 more Fightings. Attack 1 to the Rock. And I think we're good to just attack. It's not a whole bunch of damage, and I do wish that they had actually benched one of their Charcadets. Being able to do 70 to a Charcadet, even if they have the 80 HP Charcadet, we can collateral that since we play the Vitality Band. See a Latias come down for the free retreats. Carmine to toss your hand. Get rid of Fez. They did also toss Briar. They used Palpad yet or tossed it? No, they have not. So they can Palpad back that Briar, but dancing around Briar is actually really, really important in this matchup. Now it is pretty easy for this deck to get ahead on prizes. Okay, so we do see a Charcadet down. Let's see, do you tag another Charcadet or something else? If it's something else, we just boss the Charcadet. Okay, we do see a second Charcadet come down. So that does make me a little more tempted to try and dig for boss so we can take out the Latias. Just start rolling ahead on prizes super early. We have one more Dango in deck. You see the retreat into Solrock. See if they have the fighting energy for it. They should. They just vesseled. Okay. So we get 70 done to ourselves. Not ideal, not terrible. So we can actually hard retreat this to get more energy and discard. We'll start with our Lunar Cycle. We should probably start with Metallic Signal. Okay, so we got double Superior and a Gong. Double Superior and a Gong. We'll start dropping Dangos like our life depends on it, because it kinda does, dude, no lie. Okay, so I think we'll Gong out another energy. So we have it, we have 2 in discard. We don't want to retreat here, actually. So we now have 3 in discard. Draw our 2. We do find the boss. We also find a Turo, interestingly enough. We have Vitality Band, potentially. Vessel's pretty good here. We'll Vessel away a rock. We have metal in hand, right? We do. Okay. So if we Superior, oh, a Gong helps too. I think we just grabbed our last. Unfortunately, yeah, we did. Okay, well, just gives us another thing that we can discard off Superior, so that is actually kind of nice. Kind of want to keep the Pokégear. Just in case we want to get into an Arven next turn. I'm down to keep the Super Rod because it could come up. I think we can get rid of a Gholdengo here. Unfortunate that we're only going for 3, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. We are gonna straight boss that Latias though. We'll hit him for 250 so we can start taking the initial race. Now they do have counter catchers live, but there's not really anything they would want to counter catcher that's not a Gholdengo already, so. We do see the premium power and the Scrapper. Scrapper won't really come up in this matchup, and we've kind of surpassed the usage of premium power. Unless they leave themselves single prized here on the Solrock, in which case we can Air Balloon our Gholdengo back into this Solrock, so we can also single prize and also put ourselves on odd prize. How bad? They do put the Briar back in. Okay. So we do need to try and prioritize being on odd pricing. So I kind of hope that... we'll see. Attachment on Charcadet. It is Legacy. So probably going for the Ceruledge play here, actually. Which, while not ideal to trade 2 prizes for their 1 prize, it is really wise in this matchup to be able to take that Legacy energy to the chin and make it to where their Briar is effectively useless. So, see the Fighting Gong come down. I feel like if they had the Ceruledge, they would have already summoned it, so maybe they don't. We will find out. Boy, it's cool that there's an Armarouge and a Ceruledge deck that are like decently good in the TCG right now. I know Armor Box isn't really as strong as it once was, but with okay, so we get the Ultra Ball for Ceruledge, that's fair. But with the LunaRock engine coming out and making Ceruledge popular, it does kind of tickle me a little bit knowing that both evolutions can be good right now. Okay. Who are you taking? Jenny? Taking the Gholdengo that doesn't have energy on it. Kind of foolish, if you ask me. but you know what, man? Go off. I think that was kind of a misplay on my opponent's part, and we will... It's kind of going to already come back to bite them. I don't think we really need to see anything to know that. Okay, we have the Iono, but we don't want it. We have 5 energy and discard. We need to get to 300 to be able to KO you. So we need just straight up 6, actually. We have 5 down there, we have 2 here. Actually Genesect to see what's in the deck right now. We have 1 metal left in deck. Not super duper worth, honestly. We get Fez to draw some cards. I'm kind of down for that, just because at the very least it can fill our hand with some like cards we might not want to see, like that Nest Ball. We will hold on to this Iono for now though, because it could actually come up. But we will get rid of Scrapper and Nest Ball. Give ourselves back some energy. Because we really do want to be able to take this out. I don't care that it has Legacy. Because this kind of prevents their Briar from being able to do anything. Okay. Don't think we need to play anything else. We have the exact required energy, so I don't want to discard anything with Lunatone. And I don't want to boss anything up, because I'd rather get rid of an actual threat and force them to be able to establish another one. Yep, Legacy's fine. Okay, we get another energy. That's actually massive. We've used 2 superiors, so in theory there's 2 left in deck. If you're promoting this, you probably have a Ceruledge in hand. Or a way to get one. You also need energy, however. How many fire do they usually play? I feel like it's usually like 5 and 8, maybe even 6 and 8. I feel like you play somewhere between 13 and 17 energy, right? Super Rod, 1 energy, 1 Fez, 1 Ceruledge back. Cycle away, try and draw 3 with 20 cards in deck. It's possible. You're pausing. I feel like you didn't get there. Fez can help you get there. Unfortunately, that Fez also has a giant boss's orders target on its back. So we'll see. There's 7 in dis. Oh, this could get a little dicey. See the stretcher. Kind of unfortunate for them that they super rotted their Ceruledge back, so they can't stretcher it onto board now. You get a fire energy, so they might have a way to get to Ceruledge right now. But they're taking a minute, so they might not. Ooh, the research. 7 new cards, you probably pull a Ceruledge off of that. But you're not immediately pulling the trigger, so you might not actually have it. Let's see. Yep, we do see the retreat come out. Probably into Solrock, I guess. It's Lunatone. Not ideal. Not ideal for our opponent. Sick hat though. We do get to a superior. So we have enough. Just draw a couple cards, that way next turn we can kind of filter through and get whatever we want. Genesect again, see what's left. Nest, 1 energy, basket, Arven. Okay. Nest, 1 energy, basket, Arven. 7 in discard. Kind of tempted to super rod a couple things back. I think that could be a later me problem though. Turo's kind of useless here. I think if we're taking 2, we don't need the Iono though. Because we can also Vitality Band to save ourselves some energy. So now we can either do 210 or 260. Go 4 energy for exactly 210. We still have 1 energy in hand. That is actually crucial because we can attach it to our Solrock to be able to either boss Lunatone, boss Solrock, or if they can't evolve this Charcadet, we're in pretty good shape too. Yeah, if they can't evolve the Charcadet, then we just knock it out with 100. See the fire attachment come down. Feel like I'm gonna get a second Charcadet, so that's actually pretty good here too. See the Bungle come down. I don't think there's a good space for Bundle to be in though. Pokemon. We do find the Ceruledge. Energy got 14. Doing 310, 4, 620. Good God, man. You unfortunately did not find enough. So we can just Solrock. Can attach. And we can boss. And that's the game. Alright. Glad we got to get another run-in with Ceruledge. It's kind of unfortunate the first one scooped. Yeah, I did notice the 4th Superior was prized, so being on prizing and having Solrock be able to finish out the game was really crucial there. But really happy that we ran into another Ceruledge, because the matchup is really, really fun, and you got to see there that we did have to dance around a couple of things. So it's not just point and click. It's not like the Gholdengo matchup where the first person to take a single prizer with their Gholdengo like usually loses. I guess that mirror is a little bit different now too though. But it's not as simple as a 2-2-2 race anymore. Because they're a Terra Pokemon, they have access to that Briar card, which is really, really obnoxious and annoying. But alright, we got a few games in. Video's starting to get pretty long, so we're probably gonna cut it off here. This is the new Gholdengo. I will tell you right now, as a little secret, I'm working on some spice using this guy. Just running a 1-1, which is a little obnoxious and probably going to get me into trouble, but this guy gives us a whole lot of trouble, and we have to boss his orders around it a whole lot, so being able to just drop down Lucario, 2 fighting, 270, really, really good. Because if this thing has a Bravery Charm on it, it hops up to 260, which is a pretty relevant number. Unfortunately, if it is a Bravery Charm and also the Lively Stadium, we can't one-shot it, but we put severe enough pressure onto it that we can follow it up the next turn and do pretty well. Knock it out with a Solrock or something. But that is what I got for you guys. This is the new Gholdengo. I guess we're playing rocks now. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a sub, all the stuff. Share this with your friend who thinks the Gholdengo is trash, because it... I guess, whatever. It's a fine deck. It's a good deck. It's my favorite deck. We're still playing it. So thank you guys so much for being here. I've been Sam. You've been awesome. This is the Poke Workshop, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.